Welcome back for another video. Nearing the halfway mark of the season, still a very long way to go though, so hang in there if you're not where you want to be right now, or keep it up if you are. There's some amazing fixtures next gaming. Let's talk about the best players to buy this week, and of course Saka replacements for those of you that have got him. Starting off with the keepers. It was a crazy match to conclude last gaming as Liverpool beat Spurs 6-3. Next gaming, however, Liverpool are home to Leicester, which has Alisson joint top with Raya. He's also got a fantastic fixture home to Ipswich. Perhaps the best Liverpool triple up is Alisson, Trent and Salah. 3 nailed picks, but it does depend on how you measure best, I suppose. There are Liverpool midfielders that offer massive upside next game if you're open to the minutes risk. We'll cover those later. There is one budget keeper who I think is the standout right now in my view, Henderson. He's only 4.4 mil, and Palace are on the cusp of a pretty incredible fixture run long term. Bournemouth, Southampton, Chelsea, Leicester, West Ham, Brentford, Man United, Everton and Fulham. If you use the fixture ticker tool on FPL.page and sort by the next 8 gamings, Palace are top. If you're playing around with a tight budget in goal, then he is one to strongly consider. It's not a pressing move this week, with most of the budget keepers having pretty okay fixtures themselves, but certainly Gameweek 19 for Southampton home onwards. Fabianski just misses out making the table, but he is tied on 3.4 projected points, away to Southampton next gaming, certainly playable for that game. Moving on to the defenders, and this week Trent's top with 5.6 points for the Leicester game. He registered his 4th assist of the season against Spurs on Sunday, and his 4.71 expected goal involvement is more than any defender this season, and it's the perfect entry point home to Leicester. Leicester are 5th worst for expected goals so far in the 4 games under Van Nistelrooy. They've not really shown any improvement. Huge clean sheet potential, and likewise potential for an attacking return there. He's top among all defenders for the next 5 as well, which also suggests that he's worth the extra 0.5 mil over Van Dijk. Given that Arsenal are home to Ipswich, Gabriel, Timber, Saliba and Calafiori all make the list. If I was going to rank them best to worst who to buy, it'd be in that same order actually, Gabriel, Timber, Saliba and then Calafiori. There is an opportunity to go double defence, maybe even triple if you did have Saka and you're selling him. Avoid Robertson though. I think there's a good chance we see some rotation, which might include Tsimikas and left back. So we talked about Palace's fixture run earlier. Munoz will return to Palace's starting 11 for Bournemouth away after serving his 1-match suspension for 5 yellows. He's only 4.7 mil, and looking at underlying data, he's taken 17 shots this season, he's created 16 chances, 3.52 XGI, which ranks 4th best among all defenders. 3.52 XGI is already more than he registered in the entirety of last season, so he's gone up a level. He's even more attacking, and he could offer ridiculous value as a set and forget pick with that fixture run for that cheap. I think the boat's probably sailed on Gomez for Liverpool. Although he's got great prospects the next couple of game weeks, Konaté could be back around Gameweek 20, so it's too much of a short-term pick to make sense now. Likewise with the Newcastle defence really. Their next 3 are Villa home, Man United away and Spurs away. Gameweek 21 looks like the perfect time to add Hall before he's got home games to Wolves and Bournemouth, and then he's got Southampton away, then Fulham home. Onto the midfielders, and starting with the obvious, Salah's top among all players this week on 8.5 points for the Leicester game at Anfield. The first player in Premier League history to have double-digit goals and assists before Christmas, a 21-pointer against Spurs, and his 177 points after 17 game weeks is 50 points clear of his record-breaking 303 point 17-18 season at this stage, and he's got a game in hand. It's genuinely mind-blowing form. A couple of blanks in a row for Palmer however, but keep the faith in him. He's going to deliver big again very soon. He's second this week after Salah on FPL Review's projections. So what about Saka replacements then, putting those 2 aside? We've not actually heard exactly how long he's out yet, but given it's a hamstring injury and we saw him leave on crutches, it could be a few weeks you'd expect. There's a lot of names here, and a few not on the table as well. Odegaard's got a good chance of being on penalties in Saka's absence. He's home to Ipswich and he's 3rd on the table this week. Looking at the next 5 gaming projections in isolation, Bruno for 0.1 mil more is slightly ahead of him. Bowen for a bit cheaper does have Southampton next, but then you want to bench him against Liverpool really. Maybe after that against City away, but that's not necessarily a bad fixture right now. Trossard and Martinelli expected to flank the wings in Saka's absence, so they're cheaper options before Ipswich home as well. And then there's Son, who hasn't hit his usual heights this season, and he is quite expensive for 9.8 mil. His next 5 are worse than some of the cheaper picks here, which suggests looking elsewhere. Looking at the cheaper options as far as the sub 6 million midfielders, Semenyo's actually top with 17.9 over the next 5, and then it's Kluivert for about the same price, on penalties as well for 5.5 mil. Enzo 17.3 points, Sarr 16.8, Ahmad 16.6. So in a nutshell, there's very little separating them all, and the ownership percentages are really low as well, so no one's exactly sure who's actually the best. Bruno really should have come away with something in the Bournemouth game, 0.86 XGI. He had a really good chance, saved well by Kepa. Ahmad as well with 0.96 XGI. Right now, my favourite replacement is Bruno, but it is team dependent. If you go down to a cheaper mid, if it frees up money for some significant upgrade elsewhere like Trent or Isak. What about other Liverpool midfielder options as Saka replacements then? Luis Diaz scored a brace against Spurs to put him on 7 goals for the season. He's already one off his best ever scoring season in the Prem. Nothing from Gakpo that game, with Darwin and Jota on the bench coming on. It could be a front three of Luis Diaz, Jota and Salah against Leicester. The underlying problem with the Liverpool midfielders is the low expected minutes. They are rotation risks, especially in this busy period. We've been here before with Jota at the start of the season, Luis Diaz after that. They'll have some great games definitely, but if you go there, you're going to have to accept a benching here and there. It's almost certain to happen. So is a benching here and there better than someone like Ødegaard or Bruno, who are nailed every game? They play 90 pretty much every game, plus they've got some set pieces and penalties. I think it is exciting when the template picks get broken up anyway, because it is an opportunity to take your team in a new direction. And whatever direction you go, they're going to be less owned by the player base, so there's more upside on the table there. If you've got Saka, drop a comment below who you're going with. So is there a case to be made for triple captain and Salah this week? It's one of the best fixtures all season that Liverpool are going to get, and he's just scored 21 points. However, I'd say save it. If Liverpool didn't have a postponement, it'd be a very different conversation, but that double game week looks like the optimal time to activate it, if you've still got the chip anyway. It's rumoured to be in Game Week 24, so Liverpool would have a double game week of Bournemouth and Everton away. That's significantly more upside than a single game week home to Leicester, even if it might not seem that way. Onto the forwards, and this week Haaland leads the table on 6.7 points. Is there a case to be made for downgrading Saka to fund Haaland? I actually quite like this plan. City's next 5 are unbelievable if they can turn it around. They've got Everton home, Leicester away, West Ham home, Brentford away and Ipswich away. That's a seriously good run. He is also seriously expensive though for 14.9 mil. Trent and Bruno is about the same price as Haaland, or Trent plus Isak even. There are clear sacrifices if you go with Haaland, Palmer and Salah. Although he's 34.9% owned, the vast majority of that is dead teams. And in reality, very few active teams still have him. In the top 100k for example, he's 3% owned. Have any of you considered it? Isak comes in second on the forwards table, 5.7 points next game. 6 goals and 2 assists in his last 4 games. He's been in unstoppable form and he's home to Villa next. Could be the last chance for João Pedro for a lot of teams. Just 1 assist in his last 5 games. But he is home to Brentford next, so it's got to be an easy hold for that one. And then make a call before Brighton have got Villa and Arsenal. He is cheap enough that you could just bench him though if your structure allows for it. And maybe that'll be easier if you're selling Saka. In Game Week 21, they've got Ipswich away. So Jesus is on 5 goals and an assist in his last 2 games in all competitions. Is it time to buy him for 6.7 mil before Ipswich home? The problem with Jesus is he's very streaky, and he's not nailed despite the form either. Don't be surprised if he starts against Ipswich and then he's benched against Brentford or Brighton after that. For me, it's not enough to consider him. Are we overlooking Solanke? He seems to have been heavily criticised as a pick this season, though he's now on 11 goal contributions in 17 games, which is pretty respectable. He got a goal and assist against Liverpool as well. And over the next 5, he's only behind Haaland, Isak and slightly behind Jackson. 7.5 mil doesn't break the bank, and he is somewhere that you could go if you're selling Saka and use a second transfer for an upgrade up top. Perhaps Cunha for example if he's banned for Game Week 18 or 19. Tottenham's run is Forest, Wolves, Newcastle, Arsenal, Everton. Mateta is the other one, really under the radar pick. I think it's going to be in the conversation next week before Southampton home. That wraps up the video. Hit subscribe if it was helpful, hit like before you go. My team selection video is going to be out first thing tomorrow morning, and it's looking like the experts will be on Christmas Day before the Boxing Day deadline. See you soon for the next one.